July 1969. 600 million people watch a grainy black and white broadcast from another world. Neil Armstrong steps onto the moon. Half a century later, a question refuses to die. What if that broadcast was filmed in England by a man who was afraid to fly? This is the story of Stanley Kubrick and the secret he supposedly took to his grave. Stanley Kubrick did not travel. After 1962, he lived in England and almost never left. He refused to board a plane. So he did something stranger. He built the world instead. For Full Metal Jacket, he needed the ruined city of Hue. He never went to Vietnam. He took an abandoned gasworks in East London. He knocked holes in it with a wrecking ball, working from photographs of the real Hue. Then he shipped in 200 palm trees from Spain and 100,000 plastic tropical plants from Hong Kong. His designer later noticed something eerie. Some of those London buildings had been drawn by the same French architect who once built in Hue itself. The illusion convinced people who had actually been there. And that is the seed of the whole legend. If Kubrick could build Vietnam in London, what else could he build? In 1968, Kubrick released 2001, A Space Odyssey. He wrote it with Arthur C. Clarke, and to reach him, Kubrick had to send a cable to Ceylon, today Sri Lanka. So the most realistic space film ever made was written between London and the Indian Ocean, a year before any human touched the moon. And that is where the theory begins. America could not afford to lose the space race. So NASA hired Kubrick to shoot insurance footage, a landing that never happened, ready to broadcast. There is no evidence for this, none, but believers say Kubrick left clues, a confession hidden in his own films, for anyone patient enough to look. Their main exhibit is The Shining from 1980. Watch the little boy Danny. Before he approaches the forbidden room, he is wearing a hand-knitted sweater with an Apollo 11 rocket across the chest. Then the room itself. In Stephen King's novel, it is room 217. Kubrick changed it to 237. Why? Because theorists say the moon is 237,000 miles from Earth. Except it isn't. The average distance is closer to 239,000. The number is simply wrong, and the real explanation was never hidden. It is published on a hotel's own website. Kubrick shot the exteriors at the Timberline Lodge in Oregon. The lodge has a real room 217, and the manager panicked. After a film like this, who would ever sleep in it again? So he asked Kubrick to use a number the hotel did not have. Kubrick picked 237. Here is the part nobody quotes. Today, room 217 is the most requested room in the entire hotel. In 2015, the internet finally got what it had been waiting for. A video, grainy, intimate. An old man in a chair, saying the words out loud. The landings were faked, and he was the man who filmed them. Stanley Kubrick. Confessing. It came from a film called Shooting Stanley Kubrick. There was a problem. The interview was shot in May 1999. Kubrick died in March 1999, 2 months earlier. The man in the chair was an actor. In an outtake, the interviewer slips and calls him by his real name, Tommy. A spokesman for Kubrick's widow said it plainly. The whole story was invented. So in this entire affair, exactly one piece of footage has been proven fake, the confession, and millions of people still believe it. Then there is the death. Kubrick's last film was Eyes Wide Shut, a story about a secret society of the powerful, hiding behind masks. In early March 1999, his editor carried a print to New York. Kubrick stayed home. He still would not fly. The studio saw it. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman saw it. Less than a week later, Stanley Kubrick died in his sleep. A heart attack. He was 70. For the theorists, the timing was not a coincidence. It was a punishment. The film was not even finished. The colors were not graded. The sound was not mixed. Other people completed his last film, without him. So how did a man who refused to fly film space more convincingly than NASA? He asked NASA. Kubrick hired Frederick Ordway, a scientist from the Marshall Space Flight Center, and Harry Lange, who had designed spacecraft for NASA's Future Projects Division. They arrived in England with trunks of real blueprints. Aerospace companies handed over real hardware. When NASA's own Apollo administrator visited the studio and saw the equipment lying around, he reportedly gave the place a nickname, NASA East. 2001 does not look real because Kubrick faked the moon. It looks real because he refused to guess. And maybe the true mystery was never what Kubrick knew. It is why we would rather believe in a hidden confession than in the stranger truth, that a few obsessive people in a studio outside London simply did the work. Stanley Kubrick died in 1999. His mysteries did not.